Some of you have asked me why I'm reviewing certain titles in the order I've been reviewing them when it comes to these classic Neo Geo reviews. And the truth is that I'm trying to review games in order of their release, but interestingly enough, Hamster, the guys behind the Arcade Archives releases, have been releasing games in some very bizarre order. For example, Blazing Star was released prior to Pulsar, King of Fighters 98 was released before this one, and Metal Slug 3 hit before the original. So I've been jumping around on purpose, making sure that I tackle the first game in the series before I jump ahead and tackle what some will say are the superior games. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at the very first King of Fighters from 1994. The first thing people realized upon seeing KOF 94 in the arcades is that it was a radically different one-on-one fighting game. Instead of just selecting a single character, you chose a team to use. Each team represented a country, and you had to beat all of the other members of the opposing team to move on to the next round or next match. Considering this was the very first King of Fighters, there's some things that really won't sit well with fans of the series today. For example, you can't edit the teams. In other words, you can't mix characters from one team to another team to form your own three-person team. You could select which of the three would go first, second, and last, but pretty much that was the extent of it. Why King of Fighters became so unique over time is because it was really the first fighter where you had to master multiple characters. You couldn't just main one character and be done with it, and as such, it sort of leveled the playing field at the time. You could have players that were just excellent with one character, but sucked with other ones, and so as long as you could, chip away at that one character, you could get the person to play with characters that they were horrible with. And because you couldn't edit the teams, this was really, really interesting. Characters were made up of a bunch of different SNK series and games, including Fatal Fury 1 and 2, Art of Fighting, Psycho Soldier, Ikari Warriors, and then there were two brand new teams that were the Team Japan and Team USA that included a bunch of different characters, including Kyo, who would become a regular SNK mainstay from this point on. The gameplay is rather simplistic compared to modern-day King of Fighters, but remains very fun to play. You have access to a power meter, which allows you to perform super special moves, and you can fill the gauge by taking damage or by filling it yourself. The gameplay is all based on 4 buttons, with combinations used to trigger supers. There's really not much else to say about this one. It's a fantastic fighting game that holds up very well in some areas, and well, not so much in others. I would still recommend giving it a spin because it only costs $10 and it really is a fascinating look into a fighter that helped change the landscape of fighting games forever. The audio-visual presentation still looks fantastic with the stage intros, great animations and solid backgrounds. The music is catchy and the sound effects do their part. This was a really solid game that is worth revisiting today. I certainly won't argue that future entries are superior, but ultimately, I think it's important to know where the series started before jumping into the more advanced games.